likely have an impact on surgery treatment.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Ignite News. I'm Tanya Guerra.
And I'm Alaina McCallum. Here's what's making news.
Hamilton's bus drivers may be trading in their driving gloves for picket signs. The union representing HSR workers has set a strike vote date for March 29. The drivers and management signed a no-board agreement that means the workers can be on strike as early as April 3rd. The City of Hamilton remains hopeful that it will not come to a strike and that a resolution will take place at the bargaining table. The HSR union is not planning to use upcoming Pan Am Games as a negotiation tactic.
Hey Mohawk, for our question of the day, we asked you how a possible HSR strike could affect you.
So the HSR bus system might be going on strike. How can that affect you or people that you know?
I won't be able to get to school. It's going to be harder traveling, especially if you don't have a car.
A lot of my friends and I bus to school, so that's probably my main concern.
But I feel like it would affect a lot of people because it's their primary way to get to school. Like, I know the school may not think it's their responsibility, but they're going to lose a lot of enrollment if people don't have a way here because not everyone drives.
Well, according to Google Maps, I live around an 8-minute drive away from the school. It took me over 40 minutes to get to school today using the HSR, so it's needless to say they do have a lot of problems, and I think going on strike is actually not the right answer at the moment, especially with the toxic nature that is the HSR. On my bus, needless to say, packed to the brink with over 100 people, like hands down 100 people, and we had to actually drive by people that were waiting for the bus still. So I can only imagine how much more improvement we need to do at the HSR. So it's going to be a rocky one for sure.
The HSR system might be going on strike. How does that affect you or people you know?
I really don't take the bus too often, so it's not going to affect me much, but I don't know. I guess a lot of people are going to be upset because 30,000 people take the beeline a day, so they're going to be upset.
That's all for Question of the Day. Now back to the desk.
From Steel City to a burgeoning center for art, Ignite reporter Alex Smyth took a trip to the Art Gallery of Hamilton.
One of the oldest institutions in the city, so we just celebrated our 100th anniversary last year. So it's part of Hamilton's rich history that's not just the steel town part that you've heard about already. So there's a lot to learn here. In terms of our history, we have a collection of 10,000 art objects, everything from 17th century European art to contemporary art. So there's a whole range of things to be interested in and to learn from. Yeah, well, we're standing next to one, which is the Bruegel Bosch bust by Kim Adams. So he's a very established, well-known Canadian artist. And the gallery was renovated in 2006. And this space that we're standing in was purpose-built to house this acquisition, and it's an ongoing sculpture. So it started for him in the late 90s actually, and he still builds onto it. So it started with the shell of a Volkswagen bus that is no longer produced, a truck, and he's added all his model parts of train tracks and other HO scale models, plus other little toys onto it, and talks about the accelerating pace of life and consumer culture and all of that pop culture kind of coming together, maybe in a bit of an apocalyptic kind of way, glommed onto this bus that's kind of driving into the whatever inferno. But it is ongoing, so that's another thing. So it's something that you can always visit, but you can come back and look for new additions as well. The gallery is a product of philanthropists and stewards, so it's really been driven by the people of Hamilton and their passion to share what's been produced here and also bring things from outside to the people of Hamilton.
Two brothers were arrested after a St. Patrick's Day house party got out of control. Officers were called to a house on Aylett Street around 10:30 p.m., where 4 men aged 18 to 23 had been stabbed. The victims were sent to the hospital with non-life-threatening wounds. The 21 and 19-year-olds were charged with assault with a weapon, and the youngest with breach of probation. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 905-522-TIPS.
Let's take a look at what's coming up later in the show.
Coming up on weather, spring has sprung in Hamilton. All that and more coming up on Ignite News.
The CCAA National Basketball Tournament kicks off at Mohawk College today. All that and more on Ignite Sports.
Coming up in entertainment news, we talk about the success of the Junos and the wait is over for Divergent fans.
Looking for authentic Portuguese cuisine? Look no further than Alves Meats. Loredana Bello reports what's cooking.
Located in Hamilton's downtown core, family-owned and operated, Alves Meats offers a variety of authentic Portuguese cuisine that stays true to both the islands and the mainland of Portugal.
We came together when I was 12 years old, and we opened this business when I was 24. So my husband said, "Do you think you could run a store?" And I thought, "Oh, I think I could." He goes, "You want to try?" And I said, "Yeah, let's try." So that's how we started. A gentleman, older gentleman friend of ours, he had a sausage business and he was thinking of closing it. And he offered us, he said, "I'll teach you if you guys want to learn, and then you can open your own business." And it kind of worked out at the same time, which was great. And that's how we started. And we started making sausages and we bought the building.
Alves Meats is known throughout Hamilton, Toronto, London, Cambridge, and Brampton for their homemade Portuguese sausages. Customers have 4 different kinds of sausages to choose from.
We have the hot and mild meat sausages, and then we also have the Portuguese skin sausage, which is half meat, half skin, and the Portuguese blood sausage, which is onions, blood, leaf lard, and spices. For the logo, we used both of my parents' side of Portugal. So my dad is from the islands, which the eagle is on the flag, and it's the national animal of the islands. And for the crest, we use the Portuguese crest, which is called the escudo, which is the little square with the castles inside from the mainland where my mom is from. So we just combine those.
Okay, I love you. Tomorrow is a different day.
The family says a second location would thrive, but business is booming at a steady rate at their current location.
Michelle's thinking about it. She really wanted to open up on the mountain. So we'll see how things go for the next 2 or 3 years. And then if that's still her dream, yeah, that'll be her dream. That'll be her baby. This was mine, that'll be hers.
Alves Meats is open 7 days a week and is located on the corner of McNabb and Mulberry. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Loredana Del Bello.
A man has been released from jail after being arrested for slapping a child to death. Greg Daly was arrested in July of 2012 after it was found that the 26-month-old toddler he had been babysitting died from blunt force trauma to the head. Investigators believe that the child had been slapped repeatedly, causing brain damage. Daly spent 33 months in jail but was later found not guilty of second-degree manslaughter of Noah Kaiser on Wednesday morning. Daly stands firm in his proclamation of innocence, but Kaiser's family remains adamant that he killed their son. Lee Kaiser said that he cannot believe his son's killer walks a free man.
An educational assistant from Toronto has been charged with 8 counts of sexual exploitation of a person with a disability. Police say 58-year-old Patrick Persuade lured and exploited a disabled student on numerous occasions while working at Neil McNeil High School. Police say Persuade previously worked at St. Sylvester Catholic High School. They are asking anyone with information to come forward.
With a shift away from industrialization, Hamilton is becoming a new hub for creative minds in the art scene. Ignite News reporter John Rich tells us more.
In the heart of downtown Hamilton sits an old cotton mill at 270 Sherman Avenue North. While no longer in operation, the mill, rich in history, now acts as part of a Hamilton Arts revitalization project housing various media companies and studios. Corey Nuska of Nautical Studios explains why him and his colleagues chose Hamilton as a media business headquarters.
First started looking at Hamilton because it's really up and coming in the art scene. There's with the art crawls and super crawls, it's really becoming a art-based city, which is something that we wanted to be part of, something maybe we wanted to help shape it.
Studio owner Nicholas Perry says artists are thriving in the building and the rejuvenated city.
Literally this entire building is just full of photographers, artists, people who do printing press, unique collection of people here getting into the arts, and it's something that you certainly wouldn't see in the cities surrounding this area, so it's nice to be in the heart of it.
Nick's wife Lindsay also embraces the rich, original, and interesting roots of 270 Sherman.
So when this used to be an actual functioning cotton mill, the room that we are currently in is where they stored all of the cotton. In exploring the building, they still have original pieces, so they still have all of the original lockers. A lot of the windows are still original, different trolleys that they used to use to transport the cotton around. So there's lots of original historical pieces here that we can actually incorporate into a lot of our shoots, which is really cool.
For me personally, it's probably doing something that we're really passionate about, that makes us happy. It's a way to escape our normal life and just get creative and really, you know, bring in a quality of work that we're proud of to show the community what we can do.
For the richest and most unique media experience in Hamilton, 270 Sherman is your best bet. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm John Ridge.
With the weather warming up, let's check in with Christina Aikey to find out if it's going to last.
Thanks, Alaina. Let's take a look at what's going to be happening in Hamilton and regional weather. In Hamilton, it's going to be a bright and sunny day with a high of 2 degrees Celsius. Toronto is also going to be bright and sunny with a high of 0 degrees. Niagara Falls is going to be sunny with a high of -3 degrees, and London is going to be partly cloudy with a high of -4 degrees. Finally, Windsor is going to be partly cloudy with a high of -1 degrees. The next 24 hours for Hamilton are going to make for a cooler evening with an average temperature of -1 degrees. Overnight is going to be cool with a low of -6 degrees. And finally, tomorrow morning is going to be partly cloudy with a high of 7 degrees. Moving into the next 5 days, Friday is going to be partly cloudy with a high of 6 degrees and a low of -7 degrees. Saturday is going to be cloudy with a chance of rain. It will be a high of 6 degrees and a low of 2 degrees. Sunday is going to be cloudy with a high of 5 degrees and a low of -3 degrees. Monday is also going to be cloudy with a chance of rain, and it will be a high of 8 degrees and a low of -5 degrees. And finally, Tuesday is going to be cloudy with a high of 4 and a low of -6. That's all for your weather. Now with sports, here's Alex Smyth.
Thanks, Christina. And now for sports. The CCAA National Basketball Championship kicked off today at Mohawk, and third-ranked Mountaineers will hit the court tonight at 8:30 when they take on the sixth-ranked St. Lemaire Cavaliers. In other news, Mountaineers forward Matthew Fennell was named CCAA's Men's Basketball Player of the Year. Fennell led the OCAA's West Division in scoring, averaging 28.4 points per game. The Timberwolves were in Toronto last night to take on the Raptors. It was Andrew Wiggins' hometown debut in Toronto, but his 15 points weren't enough to win as the Raptors spoiled his first game in Toronto, downing the Wolves 105-110. There were 3 games in the NHL last night. The Oilers lost to the Blue Jackets 4-3 in the shootout. Anaheim beat LA 3-2 in overtime, and Chicago shut out the Red Hot Rangers 1-0. 6 Canadian teams are in action tonight, with Toronto taking on San Jose at home. Ottawa hosts Boston for a battle for a wild card spot. The Habs host the Canes. Winnipeg is at home against the Blues. The Flyers travel to Calgary, and Vancouver is hosting Columbus. That's all we have for sports this week. Now let's throw it over to entertainment with Loredana.
Thanks, Alex. Hamilton was buzzing with excitement last weekend as we hosted the 44th Annual Juno Awards. The Juno Awards drew in 1.6 million viewers and were broadcasted live from First Ontario Centre on Sunday night. It was a huge night for Hamilton natives, the Arkells, who won Best Rock Album and Group of the Year. During their acceptance speech, they mentioned how they played their first show at McMaster University and their second at the Casbah. All you need is love and a never-ending friendship. Paul McCartney has agreed to induct his pal and former Beatles mate, Ringo Starr, into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame next month. The Beatles already have a spot in the Rock Hall, and so do McCartney, John Lennon, and George Harrison as solo artists. Drummer Starr is the last to be honored individually. More than 700 artists, musical professionals, and historians helped to decide who will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Artists are eligible for induction 25 years after the release of their first record. The 30th annual induction ceremony is scheduled for April 18. The wait is over for Divergent fans, as the second installment in Veronica Roth's trilogy, Insurgent, premieres across North America on Friday. Insurgent brings back Shailene Woodley as Tris Pryor, Theo James as Four, Ansel Elgort as Caleb Pryor, and Miles Teller as Peter. Tris will once again challenge the dystopian society that she and the rest of the citizens of the fictional, futuristic Chicago live in. That's all for entertainment. Now back to Tanya and Alaina at the desk.
That's all for Ignite News. I'm Tanya Guerra.
And I'm Alaina McCallum. Thanks for watching, Mohawk.